there a computer there? No. Use that one. Yeah, we don't have any walk-ins, right?
One.
We had one, so there's one computer available.
I'm using it for the recording, but no, the one in the back.
Oh, okay.
We've got a few that haven't come in yet.
Okay, got it.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to welcome everyone. My name is Vic Krishnamurti. I'm here at the University of Delaware with the Center for Public Horticulture. And I want to thank everyone for coming. We've got quite a range of expertise, professional expertise, and geographic range as well. So thanks for those of you that made the trip, regardless of where you came from. I want to acknowledge a few partners that have helped us to put this workshop together. Primarily the UC Davis Arboretum and Alliance for Public Gardens GIS. I'll introduce our instructor in a minute, but they've been instrumental in supporting this workshop, as well as Esri for the software. We have a representative with us today. And a couple of partners of the center, Longwood Gardens and the University of Delaware, that have supported the center as it gets started with the initiatives that we're putting together. This being one of our first ones, at least in my experience with the center. So just want to make a few comments about the center. It's one of the newest research centers with the College of Ag and Natural Resources here at the University of Delaware. We're located in Townsend Hall, which is also where the University of Delaware Botanic Gardens are. And our focus is on linking professional education with training and ongoing research. So I encourage you to stay involved with the center after today's workshop, and we've got a lot planned for today, a lot of material to cover. So we're really happy to support your initiatives as well in terms of how you take this resource forward. Few logistics: the restrooms are located along this hallway. The women's room is closer than the men's. The men's is further down the hall, just so everyone knows where those are. We appreciate you accommodating us in terms of no food and drinks in this room, in the classroom, just because of the technical equipment. We'll make an allowance for Brian. I did catch that out of the corner. Caught that out of the corner of my eye. So thanks for that. We will. Our first break is planned a little bit on the early side, just keeping that in mind, so that everyone can get coffee relatively early this morning if you didn't have a chance before you got here. Also, if you could silence cell phones, that would be great. In addition to just the normal factors in terms of the presentation, I wanted to let everyone know we are recording the audio and the screenshots. There's not a video recording per se, but we're recording the presentations. The audio will be recorded. We're segmenting it into the various topics. So both Brian through the Alliance for Public Gardens GIS and the Center for Public Horticulture. Our plan is to have the sessions available online for your future reference to go back and cover those topics again. And we're going to do some drawings throughout today just to keep everyone engaged and help with that. Not that the material is not fantastic material that Brian will be covering, but we wanted to just keep it a little bit fun. So we have some drawings. I hope if everyone got a ticket, I want to make sure everyone got a drawing ticket. So we've got some prizes for a few giveaways. So with that, I wanted to introduce Brian Morgan. He is our instructor for the day. Developed this model of GIS for public gardens, and he's currently, he was formerly at the UC Davis Arboretum and is currently Putnam Research Fellow at Arnold Arboretum with Harvard University, where he's doing some exciting things with the collections at Arnold. So Brian, thanks a lot for being here, and I want to thank Mia and Angie as well for being here. Thanks for coming. So enjoy the day. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me through this little microphone thing? Okay, good. I just wanted to take another minute and introduce the two people that are going to be helping us out today. Mia Angolia is kind of my partner in crime from UC Davis. She has been working with me for, 5 years or so at this point, and helped me map the UC Davis Arboretum collections from the very beginning, plant by plant, and is now the curator of the Arboretum. And she's going to be available if you guys have any technical questions while you're going and you need a little bit of help. Mia can give you a hand with that. We also have Angela Lee here somewhere. There she is in the back. from Esri, who has also been one of our partners in crime for many years, has been a huge supporter of all the GIS work that we've been trying to do, and is our kind of museums and library, is that the right term? Museum and library representative for Esri. So she's a great resource if you have any questions about Esri software or how to get a hold of that kind of software or any other support that Esri may be able to help you guys out with. And she's also going to be available today walking around. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and either Mia or Angie will be able to come help you out. Let's see, I guess without further ado, we can get started. I think what I wanted to start out first with here is just to go over kind of what we're going to do today. I want to start with a really brief kind of low-level introduction to what GIS really is and clear up some confusion that some people have about what GIS is and what it really isn't. So we'll talk about that first for a few minutes. And then we're going to do a very, very, very quick introduction to the ArcGIS Desktop software, specifically ArcMap, just give you a really quick tour of the way the program's laid out and how you go about doing things in that program. And then we're going to talk a bit about the geodatabase, which is kind of the way that GIS data is stored in ArcGIS, and a bit about data models, which is kind of one of the things that we're going to be really focusing on today is using this data model that we've developed at UC Davis for the entire Botanic Garden and Arboretum community. And that model is really just a template that you can download, and instead of having to design how you're going to capture features out in your garden, what kind of information you're going to store about those features, we've kind of created this template so that you can just get up and running really quick. And being able to just start putting data right into that. Then we'll take the much-needed coffee break. We can all refuel after the exciting content of the first part there. And then we'll, after the break, we'll go on to the Alliance for Public Gardens GIS website and download the template data model and some data that I put together for today's workshop. And then I'll show you how to install that on your computer and make it so that you can start collecting data with it. Then we'll do a brief tour of the data model. I'll kind of walk through all the different things in it. It's quite complex. I often say that mapping or modeling a botanic garden is similar to modeling an entire city, in that it's very complex. There's lots of things. We have all the same things that a city might have. We have utility lines, we have roads, we have buildings and things like that. So there's a lot of complexity in it. But the general idea is that with the data models, you just use what you want to use out of it. If you want to just map your plants, then you just do that and you can ignore the other things in it. But anyway, we'll just go through and I'll show you what all the different parts of the data model are. And then we'll start actually doing some more hands-on stuff after that. The first thing we'll do is we'll take some aerial photography for the example data set that we're going to work with today, and we'll put that into the data model or into the geodatabase. And aerial photography serves as a really great backdrop to be able to collect information from. So you may not want to go out in your garden and map everything with like a GPS unit or just by walking around and finding out what things are. But the aerial photography, you can see a lot of stuff in there already, and you can just digitize those right off of that photograph. And usually photography is taken with leaves off, so in the spring, so that you can see a lot of things that are on the ground, with the exception of evergreens, of course. And then we'll go on to what I call digitizing base map data. So we'll use that photograph to create what we call the base map, which is kind of the backdrop to any map that you might make for your garden. And that usually includes things like sidewalks and where your roads are, the delineation of maybe some planting beds, things like that, background information for your map. And then we'll take a lunch break. We have about an hour for lunch, and I believe that's a catered lunch, so that'll be all set. And then after lunch, we'll go on and actually use a similar process we used to digitize the base map data, but to digitize some information about plants. And along the way, we'll learn the functionality of the data model and how everything's connected, so that when you click on maybe a particular section of your garden, you can find out what's inside of it. You can find out what plants are in there, and so on and so forth. And then we're going to kind of do a mock demonstration of how you would go out in the garden to collect data on a handheld device. Because we're a big group and because I don't have 25 GPS units available at my disposal, we're going to basically use the same software that you would have on a mobile device but on the desktop so that you can see how that software actually works and see how you would actually go out in the garden and collect data. So I'll show you how to get the data onto that mobile device, how to get it back, and get data back into your GIS. Then we'll take another break, and then for the pretty much the remainder of the afternoon, we'll take all of the things that we've been working on over the course of the workshop. First, we're going to create some base map data. We're going to put some plants on there. And then we actually will go through an exercise to create a collection map. So we'll learn how to do a few of the cartography type things inside of ArcGIS and make a map and export it to a PDF that you could potentially share with the rest of your garden or your visitors. And then around 3:30, we'll wrap up with a bit of a kind of a summary of what we've gone over today, and then we'll also talk about some resources that we've put together that are out there for you guys to help you when you're actually starting your GIS project or continuing one that you may have in place already. So we'll talk about some funding opportunities and different training opportunities that are out there. And then just some questions and answers, and that'll be it. Are there any questions on that so far?
Brian.
Yeah.
If I could, I'd like to introduce a couple of key people
Sure.
in my piece of work. Dr. Bob Lyons, he's the director of the Center for Public Horticulture and the Longwood Graduate Program. And Robin Sheffield, they've both been instrumental. Robin is our program administrator for both the center and the Longwood Graduate Program. So I wanted to thank both you guys. And if you guys have any questions about either of the programs, you can feel free to ask Bob and Robin as well. So, thank you.
I guess I'd like to take this opportunity to give thanks to the folks from the Center for Public Horticulture for putting this all together. They've done a fantastic job of organizing everything and making this happen, and making it happen at a reasonably low cost, which is I think really important for all the garden folks. All right, so let me move on.